For thousands of years, no one landed on planet Thar EXUS-9. The galaxy feared it. Every ship, every map, every law had one clear rule: never approach the beast. It was not just a warning. It was the oldest law in the Galactic Council's history. Before the Council was formed, before the Great Wars, before light-speed engines Threxus 9 was already marked, the beast lived there. No one had seen it in 10,000 years. No one dared. Every time someone tried, their ship disappeared. Their signals ended in screams. Even the brave Vokari, the warlike Grend, the ancient Sulki all failed. That planet became a graveyard. Even pirates avoided it. So the galaxy forgot the beast. Or at least, they tried. Until humans came. Captain Rayla stood on the drop platform of her ship, Nova Lance, looking down at the cursed planet. Her suit was light. Her weapons were silent. Her heart beat fast, but not with fear, with curiosity. She was alone. The Council never approved this mission. Even her own people told her she was foolish. "Don't go there," they said. "Not worth your life." But Rayla wanted to know. Why was one planet feared so deeply? Why did everyone say the same word, beast, and then grow quiet? She pressed her hand to the launch button. Her drop pod hummed, entering atmosphere in 20 seconds, the ship AI said. Rayla smiled. "Good. Let's see what's down there." Then the pod dropped. In the Council Command Center, alarms flashed. A communication officer yelled. A pod just entered. Threxus 9. One life form, human. The old Admiral Vokai stood from his seat. "What? Humans don't break rules." A scientist replied. "This one did." The Council chamber grew quiet. Someone whispered. "The beast will wake." Rayla's pod burned through the clouds. The sky was blood red. Winds roared around her like the growl of some sleeping creature. She held tight. The pod shook, but she stayed calm. Then dash impact. The pod slammed into the hard ground and bounced once before settling. She unlocked the door and stepped outside. Silence. The land was dry and cracked. Black mountains circled her like teeth. The air smelled of dust and old metal. There were no trees, no birds, no animals. Just the wind and something else. Something deep below. It felt like watching eyes. She turned on her scanner. No life forms nearby, no structures, no movement. But something was wrong. Her scanner blinked once, then shut off. "Signal lost," her AI whispered. She was alone now. Rayla walked for hours. The sun never moved. It just hung in the sky, staring. The ground began to change, from rock to glass. Black glass, smooth and sharp. Suddenly, a crack opened under her feet. She fell. She landed softly, though she didn't understand how. It was like invisible hands caught her. Around her, lights flickered on. She stood in a vast underground chamber, dark, massive, alive. The walls moved slowly, like breathing. Then she heard it. A voice, not in words, in thoughts. "You are not the first." Rayla froze. "Who are you?" she asked. "You are not the first to come. But you are the first who stayed." The walls lit up. Images flashed: old ships, alien races, battles. All dying here. All failing. "Are you the beast?" She asked. "I am what they call the beast. I was not born. I was built. I was left alone." Rayla took a step forward. "Why do you kill?" "Because they feared me. Because they came with fire," she nodded. "But I came with questions. That is why I have not ended you." In the council chamber, chaos spread. "They're speaking," someone shouted. "How do you know?" "Because we are receiving a signal from the planet." The Admiral looked at the screen. Static at first, then one word: Rayla. The voice was deep, old, not human. "The beast is calling her name." Rayla sat in a circle of shifting lights. The walls were showing her something, not a trap, not a warning, a memory. She saw a race of tall, golden beings. Their faces were calm. Their eyes shined with stars. They built cities. In space, shaped planets like clay. They made the beast. They called it a guardian. Rayla whispered, "Where are they now?" "Gone," the beast said. "They left before the fire came." "What fire?" The walls shook. The lights dimmed. War that ended stars. The war that broke the galaxy. I was told to sleep. Until one returned. Rayla's voice shook. One of them? One with their spirit, one with their blood. The lights focused on her. "You carry it." She blinked. "I'm human." So were they, once. Above, orbiting ships watched closely. The human pod still sent no clear signal. Just quiet. Admiral Vokai leaned forward. "If she survives one more day, we send a fleet. We destroy whatever is down there." "But sir," an officer warned. "What if it's awake already?" The admiral's eyes narrowed. "Then it's already too late." Rayla stood now in front of a massive door. The beast spoke again. "Do you want to know what they left behind?" She nodded. "Then you must. Be tested, not in strength, in choice." The door opened. Inside was a copy of her ship's command room. Her old crew stood there, smiling, alive. She gasped. "This is a dream." "No," the beast said. "It is memory, your memory. If you change it, the truth will change too." A siren sounded. The ship began to shake. Fire outside the windows. Her crew screamed. One said, "Captain, do we fight or run?" Rayla knew this memory. Her first mission. She ordered retreat then. They lost a city. Many died. Now she could choose again. She looked at the beast's eye above. She said, "We stay. We protect them." The ship exploded. Darkness. Then silence. Then light. She stood again in the chamber, alone. You chose courage, not victory. That is what they once were. Deep below, a new door opened. Rayla walked into it. Inside was a floating orb glowing, humming, alive. The beast said, "This is the key of flame. Only one with their fire can touch it." She reached out. Her hand touched the orb, and it did not burn her. Instead, it wrapped around her arm like liquid light, melting into her skin. She gasped, but didn't pull back. The voice said, "Now you are seen." In orbit, every screen across the sector lit up. Ships, planets, stations. Everyone saw the same thing. A human. Standing on Threxus 9, her body glowing. Her hand marked by fire. The beast's voice echoed through the stars. "She has entered. She has passed. She has been chosen." Back in the council chamber, panic took over. She must be stopped. She is bonded with it. She is the new beast. Admiral Vokai stared at the image. "No," he whispered. "She's something worse. She's the key to waking it fully." Rayla stood at the center of the planet. She felt power moving in the ground. In her veins, she looked up at the sky, at the stars, and whispered, "What happens now?" The beast answered with words that made the stars grow cold. "Now the galaxy remembers what it tried to forget." A sound moved across the galaxy. It was not loud. It was not a scream or a warning. It was a voice calm, deep, and impossible. A voice that had not spoken in 10,000 years. That it came from Threxus 9, the planet everyone feared. The one place the Galactic Council had sworn to avoid. The place where Rayla now walked. And the voice didn't threaten war. It asked only one thing: where is the human? In the Galactic Council chamber, silence held every species frozen. The voice came through every channel: military, civilian, hidden, ancient. No one knew how it spread so far or so fast. Even ships not pointed at. Threxus 9 received it. Even dead satellites turned back on to deliver it. Where is the human? Admiral Vokai stood slowly. His scales turned pale. The council's oldest member whispered, "It speaks. The beast has spoken." One younger alien, a Euro technician, asked, Why does it care about the human? Vokai replied in a low voice. Because she answered it. She passed its test. Far below, under the surface of the death world, Rayla stood in a giant hall made of metal and light. The air hummed with energy. The walls moved slightly, like a living creature was breathing. She felt no fear now, only awe. You're awake, she said softly. I never slept, the beast answered. The voice wasn't in her ears. It was inside her thoughts, deep, steady, powerful, like standing under the sea and hearing the waves move mountains. She asked, Why me? Because you stayed. Because you listened. Because you carry their fire. Rayla remembered the orb from before, the key of flame. It was still part of her now, wrapped around her wrist like warm gold. She touched it. What is this? The beast answered, It is proof you are one of them. The builders, my makers. Their blood moves in yours. She blinked. Humans come from Earth, not from your builders. So you believe, so they hoped. But stories twist when time forgets them. You are more than human now. High in orbit, ships began to move. Council warships formed a wide circle around Threxus 9. Some captains wanted to flee. Others wanted to fire. Admiral Vokai chose neither. Not yet. Send a probe, he said. But sir, an officer replied. The last probe was melted. Vokai looked at the screen showing Rayla. She is still alive, he said. Let's see what that does. Beast allows now. Rayla continued forward. The halls around her glowed with soft blue light. Her steps made no sound. She reached a new chamber. Inside she saw a platform. Above it floated a strange object, half crystal, half machine. It pulsed like a heartbeat. What is that? She asked. That, the beast said, is memory. Mine, the galaxy's, yours. The object pulsed again. Rayla felt a strange pull, like a voice from the past calling her name. She stepped closer. Suddenly, the world around her vanished. She stood in a city of light. Skyscrapers touched stars. Bridges floated without support. Beams of gold and silver moved with grace and power. It was not a dream. It was not a vision. It was a memory, alive, sharp, perfect. She was watching the builders. They were beautiful, tall, calm, peaceful. They spoke with minds, not mouths. And they built wonders, planets shaped like music, moons that sang, suns that obeyed them. Then she saw a change, a crack. Darkness came from beyond the stars. Ships, made of bone and shadow. Creatures that ate planets. The builders fought. But slowly, carefully. They did not want war. So they made something new, something powerful. Something cold. They made the beast. It was not a monster. It was a wall. It protected. It obeyed. It waited. Until even the builders had to flee. Rayla returned to her own time. The chamber felt colder now. You were made to protect them, she said. Yes, the beast replied. And when they vanished, I protected what they left behind. What did they leave? A pause. Then the beast whispered, hope, buried in blood. The probe arrived. It hovered outside the ruins, scanning the surface. Then it moved lower, just meters above where Rayla stood. The lights in the chamber turned red. Rayla looked up. What is that? The beast answered. An eye. From above. Suddenly, a beam of red light shined down from the ceiling. It struck the probe, held it midair, and crushed it slowly like paper. Then it vanished. Rayla took a step back. You didn't have to destroy it. They tested me, I answered. Next time they send warships. Rayla whispered. And what will you do then? The beast did not answer. In the council chamber. The probe's destruction was live. Everyone saw it, crushed in seconds. Screams filled the room. He's awake, one shouted. She's joined with it, cried another. Admiral Vokai raised his hand. We have one chance, one. He activated a secure channel to Threxus 9. Rayla, This is Admiral Vakai. If you can hear this, you must come out, now. Rayla heard the voice. It echoed from the walls. She recognized it. Vakai, I remember you. She touched her wrist. The key of flame glowed. She answered, I'm not coming out yet. There's more to learn. You don't understand. Voka said, the council is afraid. If you don't return, they will attack. Rayla looked up. Then they'll make the same mistake again. The beast showed her another chamber. Inside, giant machines turned slowly like hearts of old. Stars. Energy moved through golden pipes and glowing symbols. At the center was something strange. A chair, not a control chair. Not a throne. A seat of memory. The beast said. They built this to pass on knowledge, to give voice to the next guardian. Rayla looked at it. You want me to sit? If you do, you will know everything. She hesitated, then stepped forward. She sat. Her mind opened. She saw Earth. She saw stars before Earth. She saw humans climbing from darkness again and again. She saw the builders watching quietly, guiding slowly. She saw the truth. Humans were not just an accident. They were planted, grown, watched, forgotten, and now remembered. Rayla stood up. Her eyes glowed faintly now. She whispered, I know who I am. Above, the council fleet prepared to fire. Admiral Vakai gave the order. Full power. Prepare to burn the surface. The ground trembled. Rayla stepped out of the chamber. The sky above turned dark, not from smoke, but from the beast rising. The ground peeled open. Metal towers grew upward. A shield of light formed above the planet. Rayla spoke with the beast now. Their voices joined. You fear what you do not understand. You fear what you left behind. You fear your past. The council ships fired. The shield absorbed it all. Not with anger. With sadness, Rayla stood untouched. In the end, the fleet fled. No one died. But the message was clear. The beast was no longer sleeping, and it had chosen. Someone new. Rayla looked up at the stars and said, I'm not your enemy. But if you make me one, I will not stand alone. Space was quiet. Too quiet. The galactic fleet had escaped Threxus 9, leaving behind silence and fear. But something had changed. Every sensor, every listening post, every deep space satellite kept hearing the same strange thing. A soft, endless hum deep under the surface of the cursed world. And inside that humming were memories. Rayla stood at the edge of a wide, glowing lake deep under the ground of Threxus 9. The water was black but reflected stars. Above her, the walls were smooth metal. They pulsed with energy, like a giant heart beating slowly. The beast's voice returned, soft and close. You are ready now. Rayla looked into the water. Ready for what? To see what the galaxy forgot. What I remember. A flash of light spread through the chamber. Rayla gasped. Suddenly, she was no longer in the cave. She stood in the sky. Not flying, but placed high above an ancient world that burned with beauty. Floating cities moved between white clouds. Rings of gold circled the blue planet below. And ships shaped like wings flew in perfect silence. This was before time, before war, before fear. She saw them again. The builders, their skin shimmered like the stars they came from. Their eyes saw past light and shadow. They moved like thoughts, calm, gentle, eternal. And in their hands, they shaped creation. Rayla watched as they made suns with their bare hands. She saw them create moons that sang to sleeping creatures. And she saw them build something huge, dark, cold, beautiful. It was the beast, but it did not look like a monster. It looked like a guardian, a protector with no face, a being made to wait, to remember, to obey. They built you, she whispered. Yes. The beast replied inside her mind. They gave me purpose, to protect their final gift. What gift? The stars around her turned red. She saw the war begin. From beyond the edge of the universe, darkness came. Not just ships. Not just aliens. These were eaters of light. Creatures made of broken laws. Living weapons. Things that screamed and made. Suns go dark. The builders tried peace. They offered knowledge, silence, safety. But the darkness only wanted to feed. So the builders gave the beast a new order. Protect what we hide. Even if we fall, then. The golden cities burned. One by one, planets fell. Moons shattered. Suns turned black. And the builders vanished. Rayla stood alone in the sky as the light faded. She whispered, "You lost them." I waited, the beast. Sighed. They said someone would come. One who carried the flame. Rayla looked down at her wrist. The golden mark still glowed. I carry it now. You are the first who passed the test. The others came with guns. You came with questions. Suddenly, the memory ended. Rayla stood again at the black lake. The glow faded from the water. The hum stopped. I saw everything, she said. The builders, the war. The darkness, the beast answered. Yes, and you must prepare. Because the darkness is not gone. Far above, in the council war room, panic grew. Admiral Vokai slammed a metal hand onto the table. This is getting out of control. The beast didn't just wake, it chose her. A young officer, pale and sweating, said, "Sir, it's talking to other systems now." "What do you mean?" The officer turned the screen. Across the galaxy, old machines were coming online. Stations long forgotten. Satellites that had been dead for centuries. Old builder tech, all connected. To Threxus 9, and the voice that came through was clear. It wasn't just the beast now. It was Rayla's voice, speaking with it. This galaxy forgot where it came from. We did not. Rayla stood now in a tall chamber filled with mirrors. Each mirror showed a different world. One showed Earth, her home. One showed a planet of forests, full of red-skinned creatures. Another showed a ruined world covered in bones. The beast said, "These are the cradle worlds where the builders planted hope." Rayla stepped forward. There were others like Earth? Yes, but Earth grew faster, stronger, wilder. The builders feared and loved it most. She turned to the Earth mirror. Then, why did they leave? The beast paused. Then said, "Because Earth was not ready. And because it would survive." Suddenly, one mirror cracked. A loud shriek echoed through the chamber. Rayla turned to the mirror, showing the bone-covered world flickered. Ships moved across its sky. Not galactic ships, something older. "Something wrong," Rayla whispered. "They're back." "Yes," said the beast. The darkness remembered too. In the council chamber, alarms screamed. "New threat detected," said the computer. "Unidentified vessels approaching edge of known space." Admiral Voka growled. "More humans?" "No, sir. Something worse." A projection appeared. Black ships, silent, no life signs, and on their sides, the same symbols seen in Rayla's vision. The Eaters of Light had returned. Rayla stepped out of the mirror. Rumen stood at the heart of the beast. Before her rose a giant platform like a throne. But without pride. She said, "You remember everything. Every war, every mistake. Yes, I am not a god. I am memory with teeth, and I'm just one human, not anymore. You are the first to listen, the first to see. What do I do now? You lead." The chamber shifted. A great circle of lights lit up around her. One by one, ancient machines turned on across the galaxy. Each one responded to her mark. Each one accepted her as warden of the flame. The builders may have died, but their tools were not forgotten, and Rayla now had access to all of them. The beast's final words for the day were few, but heavy. "The galaxy tried to forget me. Now it must remember you." Rayla raised her hand. The flame on her wrist pulsed. Across the galaxy, people saw her face. She said one line, simple, strong, and clear. "This is not the end. It's the return." Ships moved across the stars fast, silent, and angry. Each one carried the same order. Eliminate the human. No questions, no messages, no second chances. The council had voted. Rayla was now marked as a threat to galactic peace. Above, Threxus 9, shadows gathered in orbit. 12 warships. 3 dreadnoughts. 1 command carrier. They didn't ask permission. They didn't send a warning. They came to erase the mistake. The beast, however, already knew. Rayla stood at the edge of a cliff inside the ancient world. She had not slept in days, yet she felt no pain. The key of flame pulsed on her wrist. The voices of the builders echoed faintly in her mind. Then she heard it. They are here. The beast's voice was cold. Rayla nodded. I expected them. They come not with questions, but with fear. Rayla whispered, then let them see what fear awakens. Inside the lead ship, Admiral Varin Cold, four-eyed reptilian, watched the planet spin below. Target locked, his officer reported. Varin's claws tapped on the table. He hated humans. Always loud, always chaotic, always unpredictable. She chose the beast, he said. She dies with it. The command was given. Charge planetary breaker. Fire on my mark. Below, the beast's surface began to move. The cliffs rose like ribs from the ground. Mountains uncurled like fingers. Energy shields formed silently, covering the entire valley where Rayla stood. Then something stranger happened. She began to glow. Not in heat, not in light, in presence. The key of flame spread across her armor. It reached her eyes, her hands, her voice. She was no longer just human. The warships fired. Red beams struck the shields. Explosions rippled in space. The air around Threxus 9 boiled, but none of it reached her. Rayla looked up and spoke for the galaxy to hear. I did not come to fight, but I will not kneel. Her voice echoed from ship to ship. You fear what? You don't understand, but I am not alone anymore. The beast spoke next. Its voice shook the ships. You fear her because she carries what you buried. You fear her because she remembers what you erased. You fear her because you cannot control her. Admiral Varin screamed. Fire again. Fire everything. Dozens of missiles launched, but the air around Rayla shimmered. She raised one hand. The ground opened and strange machines rose. Beast constructs. Old weapons. Silent walkers. They stood around her like statues, then lit up. One by one, they caught the missiles and dissolved them into dust. From the council chamber, chaos spread. Screens everywhere showed Rayla, unharmed, glowing, surrounded by ancient power. She wasn't attacking. She was simply surviving. And the galaxy was watching. Rayla turned to the beast. They won't stop. They are afraid, but fear burns quickly. What now? You will be tested again. The ground shifted. A deep chamber opened behind her. Inside, a gate, made of builder's stone, covered in symbols. The vault of flame, the beast said. Inside is your choice. She stepped into the vault. Darkness swallowed her. A moment later, she was inside a battlefield. Not real. A test, but it felt real. All around her, humans screamed. They were soldiers, scientists, civilians, dying, burning, aliens, fired from above. Ships she recognized. Council warships. This was a vision of the future. A warning. Rayla ran through the battlefield. She saw herself 2 versions. One chose revenge. She burned everything. The fire on her arms turned cities into ash. The beast beside her roared like a god. The other version chose peace. She knelt before the enemy. Some attacked her, but others listened. Some dropped their weapons. Some cried. Then the scene froze. Rayla stood between the 2 choices. A voice said, "What kind of flame will you be?" She closed her eyes. "I won't be their weapon," she said, "but I won't let them destroy what's left." The vision faded. She stood again in the vault. The beast waited. You chose balance. That is rare. She turned to leave, but a small door opened behind her. Inside, a core burning. Ancient, alive, the heart of memory, said the beast. It powers me. Now it powers you too. As Rayla stepped outside again, the warships were regrouping, but something had changed. A signal was coming from one of them. A young captain was broadcasting a message to the council. I will not fire on her. She did not attack us. Another voice joined. Then another dot, and another dot. Half the fleet turned away. They refused to fire again. Admiral Varen screamed, but it was too late. His army was no longer his. Rayla looked up at the stars. A calm voice in her mind said, now you see, fear fades. But truth remains. The beast's voice was no longer alone. It was joined by her own thoughts. They were becoming something new. Together. Back on Earth, the human government watched the events unfold. They had not sent Rayla. They had not known what she would become. But now, all of humanity was watching her too. And many asked the same question. Is she still one of us? In a small galactic school on a quiet moon, a child raised her hand. Teacher, she asked, is the human lady a god now? The teacher, an old robot, thought for a moment. No, he said. She's something. Harder to understand. What's that? The robot smiled. She's awake. The warships floated in silence. The fleet that came to destroy her had split. Half still aimed weapons at Threxus 9. The other half turned their guns away. One human had caused all this. But now she was no longer just human. She was something. New. She was chosen by the beast, and she had awakened its ancient power. Inside the planet, Rayla stood still. Her body trembled, but not with fear. The heart of memory glowed before her. The chamber pulsed like a beating drum. Walls folded open like petals, and from them came the armor. Not built, not forged, not worn. The armor chose her. It floated in pieces glowing black and gold. Then, slowly, it attached itself to her body. One plate over her chest, one on each arm, one over her spine. The armor didn't feel heavy. It felt alive. It moved with her breath. It hummed with old power. Symbols lit up across the suit, symbols from the builder. Language. The beast's voice spoke softly now. You wear what only the first guardians wore. You are now seen by the machines that sleep. Rayla opened her eyes, and the world changed. Above, Admiral Viren barked out his last order. Send drop troops. Land on the surface. Burn her out. Hundreds of soldiers launched. Pods fell through the clouds like fire rain. They expected to fight one human. They were wrong. As the pods neared the ground, Rayla stepped outside. The ground beneath her shifted, metal awakening. Old weapons rose beside her, not machines of death, but defense walkers built by the builders. She raised her hand. The walkers stood still, waiting. The beast whispered, they await your command. The first pod hit the dirt, then another, and another. Within moments, enemy soldiers spread out across the black glass plains. They looked around, then saw her. Rayla walked forward. Slowly. The soldiers aimed their rifles. Stop! One shouted. She didn't stop. Open fire. Bullets flew, then froze midair. The armor around Rayla pulsed. The bullets melted before touching her. Gasps filled the battlefield. Then she spoke. I don't want to kill you. Her voice echoed like a god's whisper. I want to show you what's been hidden. One soldier, a young grand male, stepped forward. You destroyed the probe. You broke the council's rules. Rayla nodded. I also broke silence. You bonded with the beast. No, she said. The beast bonded with me. The grand raised his weapon. Rayla didn't move. He fired. The shot hit her chest and bounced back like a soft light. The grand's gun shattered. Rayla raised her hand, not to attack, but to show her palm. I forgive you. Suddenly, the battlefield trembled. Not from ships, from something older. The ground cracked, and from beneath rose the pillars of Witness Giant. Columns with glowing rings. Each one lit up when it faced her. Each one whispered the same word in 1,000 languages, Guardian. Far away, every ancient satellite still linked to builder tech lit up. Old machines reawakened. Deep systems turned on. Silent stations heard one voice again. Ray Lee single quotes S. She was now recognized across space, not just as a threat, but as the first voice of the builders in 10,000 years. Back on the battlefield, more pods landed, but instead of attacking, many soldiers simply stood and watched. Rayla didn't need to fight. Her presence was changing minds. Even the machines from the beast didn't move. They waited. Because their purpose wasn't war. It was defense of the chosen. Inside the council chamber, arguments broke out. She's wearing it, the flame armor. She can't be allowed to speak. Whole planets are listening. But others were silent, watching, thinking. One member of the council finally stood. An old being with silver eyes. She is not the threat, he said. She is the reminder. Admiral Viren sent one last desperate message. You're playing with things beyond your kind, human. You were nothing before. You are nothing now. Rayla heard it. She spoke back. I was nothing to you. But I am not nothing to history. I am what you feared would return. As she walked across the field, some soldiers dropped their weapons, some bowed, and one, the same Grand soldier who shot her, knelt. I don't understand what you are, he said. Rayla gently helped him stand. You don't have to, she said. Just don't look away. That night, no attack came. The fleet began to leave silently. Peace. By peace. Not defeated. But changed. In the core of Threxus 9, the beast spoke again. You wore the armor, and you spoke peace. The galaxy will remember that. Rayla sat near the heart of memory. She stared at her own reflection. I'm not perfect, she said. I'm not wise, I'm just... You are human, the beast replied. That's why you passed. On the far edge of the galaxy, near the dark stars, something stirred. A long-dead ship turned toward the light. Its bones glowed. Its eyes opened. Its systems blinked. It whispered in a voice of rot. The flame has returned. Then we return too. Rayla didn't know yet that the past she had uncovered was only half the story. Some stars don't burn anymore. They died long ago, but deep in their ashes, something still waits. It watches, it remembers. And now it has turned its eyes toward her, toward the human, toward Rayla, who woke the beast. At the edge of the known galaxy, near the silent black stars, an ancient ship opened its eyes. It had no crew. It had no name. Its skin was made of bone and iron. Its power came not from fuel, but from devoured suns. Inside it, old minds whispered in a broken tongue. The flame moves again. Then the hunt begins. Dozens of dark vessels followed. The Eaters of Light were coming back. Far away, on Threxus 9, Rayla stood on a rising platform. Her flame armor still pulsed. Her mind was quiet, but her heart was not. The beast had shown her peace, truth, power. And now it showed her something else. Fear. Not her own, but fear in the stars themselves. The beast's voice was softer than before. They are coming. Rayla asked, the old enemy? Yes, they have smelled the flame. They never stopped searching for it. She turned her eyes to the sky. That I'll face them. The Galactic Council received the first emergency signal 2 hours later. A science station on the edge of dead space sent a final burst at. No scream. No noise. Just static. And then one word, consumed. The signal ended. In a quiet council chamber, old leaders sat still. They had feared the beast. They had feared Rayla. But now, a worse fear returned. Admiral Voka stared at the map. They're moving fast, he said. They're not claiming territory. They're not sending demands. They're just erasing. Rayla stood inside the chamber of echoes, deep below the beast's core. The walls whispered old builder voices. They spoke in music, in memory, in warnings. Then something new lit up. A doorway, stone, sealed, unused. The beast said, "You are the first to enter this place since the builders fled." Inside is what they feared most. Rayla placed her hand on the door. It opened. She stepped into darkness. Not cold, not loud. A silence that felt heavy, like standing inside a paused heartbeat. Floating in the center of the room was a sphere. Not glowing. Not powered. Just waiting. Rayla stepped forward. The beast warned. That is the memory, core of first contact. It contains the moment the builders met the Eaters of Light. Rayla touched it, and everything changed. She stood in an old garden. Flowers of starlight floated around her. The builders were there, smiling, peaceful. Then, above them, a shadow covered the sky. A ship like a screaming wound tore through light. Then, another. And another. The builders tried to speak. The Eaters only consumed. Rayla felt the horror, felt the silence that followed. The memory ended in a scream that broke galaxies. She pulled back, shaking. They didn't want war. They never do, the beast replied. But peace must be protected too, Rayla asked. Did the beast fight them? I ended stars to slow them, but I was only one. Now we are two. Rayla looked down at her hands. Flame danced across her armor, across the galaxy. Panic spread. The Eaters moved fast. Too fast. Stars went dark. Trade routes vanished. Whole systems went silent. But then, something unexpected happened. Refugees fled toward Thar EXUS-9. The cursed world. The world of the beast. Now, it was their only hope. Rayla stood on the landing platform. Ships landed shaking, damaged, afraid. Aliens from dozens of species stepped out, eyes wide. Some dropped to their knees. Some begged. Some just cried. Rayla helped them herself. She gave. No speeches, only open hands. A small alien child, a Vena girl, clung to her leg. Are you the monster? The child asked. Rayla knelt and smiled. No, she said. I'm the one who woke it. Inside the beast, machines moved again. Not to make weapons, but to make shelter. The builders had planned for this. They had left behind not just tools for war, but tools for survival. Soon, Threxus 9 was no longer a forbidden world. It was a refuge. But the beast knew peace would not last. And Rayla felt it too. Something worse was coming. Then the signal came. A deep, pulsing sound across every frequency. One voice. Not loud. Not angry. Just cold. The flame walks. We walk to end it. Rayla called a meeting of the council, not in their chambers, but on Thar EXUS-9. At first, they refused, but they came, one by one. Their ships landed. Not with guards, but with questions. Rayla stood before them, wearing the armor of memory. She said nothing at first. Just let them see her. Let them see the refugees. Let them feel the silence. Then she spoke. I didn't ask for this. I didn't claim power. I found it because no one else would. The builders are gone. But they left something behind. Not weapons, not orders. They left a choice. Rayla looked at every species in the circle. You can keep running, or you can stand with me. Not everyone clapped. Not everyone believed her. But no one walked away. Later that night, Rayla stood at the top of the beast's highest tower. The stars above were fewer now. Some had already gone dark. The beast's voice broke the silence. You did well. I'm scared, Rayla admitted. Good. That means you still have something to lose. Then, far above, a strange shape passed through a dead star. Its form was long, spiked, burning from within. It didn't send a signal. It simply faced Thar EXUS-9 and began to move. The Eaters of Light were coming, and this time, they knew her name. The sky was full of stars, but every day, more of them went dark. Something was moving through the galaxy, not like a fleet, not like an army, Like a disease. The Eaters of Light had returned. And this time, they were not looking for planets. They were looking for her, for Rayla, for the human who wore the armor, for the one who woke the beast. The Council tried to hide, tried to block signals, tried to shut down old builder tech, but it didn't matter. The Eaters were not chasing data. They were chasing memory. And Rayla's flame now burned across space. Rayla stood at the central core of Threxus 9. The walls around her showed moving light ships, signals, lost colonies. The war had not started yet. But it was coming, she said quietly. We need to strike first. The beast replied, deep and calm. No. We must see how deep the infection goes. Rayla frowned. You want to wait? I want to understand. She walked down to the foundry hall where builder machines had started crafting again. Not weapons. Not ships. But sentinels. Machines shaped like animals. Some like hawks. Some like wolves. All fast, silent, linked to her flame. They were not alive. But they were aware. She stepped to the largest one, a silver eagle with fire in its wings. She placed her hand on its side. You'll be the first, she said. She called it. Vox. It would fly ahead, past council space. To find the enemy. To send back truth. Vox launched that same night. Rayla watched from the edge of the world. The moment it crossed into the dark star field, its light vanished. Then, silence. 3 days passed. Nothing came back. Then on the 4th day, a signal. Return. A whisper. They're here. The message showed a broken planet. A place with no name, once full of life now. Nothing left but bone and black dust. Above it floated 6 ships. All Eater design. Long, silent, hungry. Vox watched as they lowered chains of light to the ground, pulling up old tech. Builder tech. They're not destroying anymore, Rayla said. They're harvesting. The beast confirmed her fear. They've learned. They now collect what they once erased. Rayla clenched her fists. They're looking for a way to take the flame. Yes, they want what you are. Rayla gathered her team. Not soldiers, volunteers. A Grand pilot named Talo, a Venus scientist named Riri, a silent cyborg from the moon of Vex called Juno, and Vox, her metal hawk. She would not send others into danger she wouldn't face. She would go herself. They flew in a stealth vessel built by the beast. Black, quiet, invisible to scans. They reached the broken planet in 12 hours. What they saw was worse than they imagined. Giant machines were crawling across the surface, digging up builder vaults, feeding pieces into their ships. Inside the ships, echoes screamed. Riri cried softly. I can hear the memories dying. Talo whispered, they're eating history. Rayla's voice was cold. No, they're preparing to rewrite it. She ordered the team to land far from the dig site. They moved on foot. Rayla wore the armor. It dimmed itself, hiding its light. But her presence still shook. The air around her. Juno said, You don't feel human anymore. Rayla nodded. Neither did the builders. They reached the edge of the site. Then something strange happened. A single eater ship lowered to the surface, and from it, a figure stepped out. Not a machine, a being, humanoid, tall, covered in gray armor made of old stars. Its eyes glowed with pale blue fire. Rayla froze. The beast spoke sharply. That is a herald. A speaker for the eaters. We thought they had none left. The herald began to walk the ruins. Every step cracked time itself. Where it walked, builder stones aged to dust. Rayla couldn't look away. Talo whispered, Do we attack? Rayla shook her head. No, we listen. Then the herald stopped, and without turning, it spoke to them. You wear a voice not yours. Rayla stepped into the open. I wear what was given, what was earned. The herald turned to face her fully. You burn. That makes you bright. That makes you hunted. Rayla asked, Why did you return? Because you remembered. Because your kind refused silence. Because you woke the last mistake. Rayla stepped closer. I'm not a mistake. Not yet. Then the herald did something no one expected. It knelt and pressed its hand to the broken ground. Suddenly, the air ripped open, and out came something older, a thing without form. A massive cold fire and broken thought. It hissed in voices from a forgotten age. The beast screamed inside her mind. Run. But Rayla didn't run. She reached out her flame. The creature shrank back, burned, hissed, melted. The herald rose and stared. You still remember how to fight, it said. Rayla raised her hand. Go back to the dark. The herald didn't answer. It simply turned and vanished in smoke. Rayla collapsed. Her armor cracked slightly at the shoulders. The team rushed to help. She whispered, we're not ready. Back on Threxus 9, the beast was silent for the first time in days. When Rayla returned, it said only one thing. They've learned to make voices. Now they will learn to lie. Rayla looked at the stars. So many missing, so many watching. She knew now that this war was not just about her. It was about truth. The Eaters wanted more than destruction. They wanted to erase what the Builders gave, and Rayla, the last bearer of the flame, had one job left. Keep the story alive. Even if the galaxy burned, the stars were almost gone. Whole systems had vanished. Civilizations burned, and in the silence left behind came a name whispered over and over. Rayla. The girl who woke the beast. The human who wore the flame. The one they feared. The one they chased. Now she was the only one left standing between them and the final light. On Threxus 9, the skies darkened, not from clouds, but from ships, thousands of them, Eater vessels. Long, silent, spiked like dead suns. They surrounded the world that once no one dared land on. Down. It was the galaxy's last hope. Rayla stood on the peak of the beast. Her armor was cracked. Her voice was quiet, but her eyes still burned with the fire. The beast's voice trembled for the first time. This is where it ends. Rayla nodded, then let it end with truth. The last survivors had gathered below, aliens from 100 species, soldiers, children, old ones, farmers, teachers. Some still held weapons. Most held nothing, but they all looked up at her, and she knew this wasn't just about saving life. It was about saving memory. She raised her hand. The flame flared high, pure and gold. The machines of the beast rose one last time, not just to fight, but to record. Everything that happened now would be written into light. So even if they lost, the truth would survive. The Eaters began their final descent. Black fire rained from the sky. The ground shook. The stars screamed. Rayla closed her eyes and whispered, let the galaxy remember this moment. From the ground, Vox launched into the air, wings blazing. It was joined by other sentinels. Together, they flew into the swarm, burning, dying, but slowing the enemy. Every second they bought gave Rayla one more breath. Then the herald returned. It stepped through fire. Its armor burned with galaxy fragments. It looked at her, not with hate, but with pity. You could have rested. You could have forgotten. Rayla shook her head. I saw what the Builders saw. I know what they gave. And now it ends. Rayla took one step forward. No, she said. Now it begins. She slammed her fist into the ground. The beast opened fully, for the first and last time. From beneath the planet, a pulse of light spread out. Not a weapon, a truth wave. It hit every Eater ship. And for a moment, they all froze. They saw what Rayla saw, the stars before the war. The Builders laughing, children playing under light trees. Worlds growing, not fighting. It wasn't an attack. It was a reminder. The herald stumbled. Smoke poured from its eyes. What is this feeling? It growled. Rayla whispered, memory. We erased this. You can't erase truth, she said. Only bury it. But I am the shovel. The Eater ships began to turn wild, crashing into each other. Some broke apart, some vanished, but others learned. They changed shape. Adapted. They spoke back. Then we will burn your truth. We will burn you. Rayla stood ready, her flame armor shattered across her body, but still burned. The beast's voice grew fainter. You carry what I cannot anymore, she whispered. Then let me carry it to the end. The final wave hit. Thousands of enemy ships descended at once. Rayla looked down at the people she had sworn to protect. She raised her arms and said the last words she would ever speak. Let the stars remember. Then light exploded, not fire, not plasma. Memory. Pure builder memory. Sent through the flame. A storm of golden light burst from her chest. It flew across the sky, across the ships, through time, through death. It burned the lies, burned the darkness, burned even the silence. Every creature, every ship, every eater felt one thing for the first time: remorse. The ships fell. The herald vanished in ash. And Rayla, she collapsed. The armor crumbled. The fire faded. The beast's heart stopped. And yet something rose. Above Threxus 9, in the sky itself, a shape formed. Not a human, not a machine, something in between. A signal, a beacon, a living record. Rayla was gone, but her story was not. Years passed, then centuries. Threxus 9 became holy ground. Not for war, but for memory. The last survivors built towers not to fight, but to teach. They told her story in every language. In every world. They called her many names, but most just said, the last flame, and far beyond in the dark corners of space. When new enemies rose, they paused. Because in their way stood one truth. We tried to end her, but all we did was make her eternal.